Welcome back to Random University.
Again!
In today's video, I have a lot of disturbing things to talk about. Viewer discretion advised. You know, it's not enough in society that we can just exist and just be who we are. We have to just keep going beyond and just keep leveling up. Like, most of these content creators are all on this ever-ending RPG quest to get beyond the level 100. And really, you know, sometimes you hit your peak. But I do understand that point of desperation. You start thinking, man, people are not watching this content the way they used to. Bank account starting to dry up. It's getting real dusty in there. I'm starting to swipe my card and I'm tapping on the app and I'm not liking the numbers I'm seeing. I got to do something else when it comes to making content creation to make people buy in. Like, it's not enough to just be racist in today's society. You got to be like super over the top, you know, genocidal type of racist. It ain't enough to just be one singular. It's not enough to be Billy Carson, who's just questioning the Bible in its entirety and just saying, hey, maybe some of these things might be a little off. He has to say that Jesus wasn't even crucified. You have to continue to up the ante. Whatever it is, you gotta keep leveling up. So just like this content, creator today, it's not enough to just go out there and get pounded on OnlyFans and just take the D and already subject yourself to a whole bunch of, mental disease and depression and stuff that is already pretty much out there for anybody who's in this industry. It's not enough to do that. Now you got to set out on some type of quest to, break Guinness World Records of how many Ds you can take in a day.
So on Saturday, I got run through by 101 guys.
Like 100 dongs in one day. Like, to think that somebody actually is going to get pounded that much in one afternoon is just wild to me. It just really hurts me to think that this person can't come out of this any other way than extremely damaged. And you see that.
If I didn't have the videos, I wouldn't have known I've done 100, I think that was kind of the hard part, is like conversing with them and like when they'd kind of be like, oh, like we've only had 2 minutes or 3 minutes and you said 5 on the message.
Did someone say that to you?
Yeah. And obviously it just makes me feel so bad.
Do you think you should feel bad about that?
I guess when you've promised something to people who support you, it's kind of hard to let them down.
The messed up part about that video clip is the fact that she seems like she was more disappointed in the fact that she couldn't pleasure all the men, which is weird. I don't know if that has something to do with the psychological trauma that has taken place. I mean, when you get wrecked to that degree, I mean, at this point in time, it's not throw the hot dog in the hallway anymore. This is literally like falling out into orbit. I mean, it can't be hard to find her insides at this point in time. I mean, it can't be. That's a lot of pounding. I mean, that's lifetimes for some people. I mean, that is a lot of people who never get up anywhere near that number. Most people like to keep it civil, somewhere in the, below 10 or in the teens or maybe even above the 20s. That's a good life for some people. But you are taking 100 of those in one afternoon and really racking up the numbers, really trying to cheat the system. And now she's on a conquest to do this.
I'm trying to be the first person to be with 1,000 guys in 24 hours. Now, this isn't an easy task, finding 1,000 people. So, women, if you can lend me your husbands for the day, that would be amazing.
Yeah, she wants to take 1,000 pieces in one day. That's a lot of ramming. That is a lot of bodily fluids. I mean, heck, it wasn't enough that the 100 bodies was probably just more than enough. And I mean, in the site that you see, there's a documentary about this, by the way, a documentary. They've already made the documentary about this. This is already a thing. I'm pretty sure that video is probably out there somewhere for some nasty butthole to go ahead and watch and whack his meat too. Because we already have enough problems in this world. And that's the reason why she probably felt the need to be this extreme in the first place. We already have this aggressive meat beating, men loneliness epidemic that's taking place. It's not enough for just that. These people are reaching for more content. They need it. Like, it's not enough to just, go ahead and have the animals in the room where the dog or the canine gets a piece of the action. And then you also have the donkey sitting around in the corner waiting for his turn. Now you got to add an orangutan. Now you got to add in a porcupine just to spice it up just a tad bit, because there's just not enough. So I did the math, and the math it's quite something. It's staggering. There's no way she's going to be able to allow all these people to get exactly what they're wanting in this content. Like, there's no way you think all these people are going to be satisfied at the end of this venture. What I really want to know is, like, when people are in here and people aren't getting exactly the action that they're, demanding here, Are they going to get upset? Are you going to need security in there? Are they going to have to be in there and watch, or just have to be privy to the smells? I hope you give that man a mask. And I hope you give him a gas mask at that, because I'm pretty sure after everything that's taking place in there, everything is so rancid, it's damn near like acidic. It's radiant in that room. All the rubbers that were sitting around it. Oh my God. And you got to imagine, these are penises that are coming from all around the globe. There's no telling. The only thing that she really did was vet to make sure they didn't have any STDs, which, okay, good. But you don't think there can be some STDs like riling up or boiling up inside of you right now after you take that much action? I mean, do you really think everybody was clean up in there? Like everybody decided that they were going to actually keep their rubber on? How do you know? Did you really feel it anymore? Like, there's got to be a point in time where you just like go into the sunken place mentally and just forget what's going on. But she was doing a lot in there. I mean, a lot.
I think sometimes like feeling so like robotic, like by the, I think like the 30th, you know, like when we're getting on a bit, I've got like a routine of like how we're going to do this. And like, it just, sometimes you'd like disassociate and be like, you know, like it's not like normal sex at all. In my head right now, I can think of like 5, 6 guys, 10 guys that I remember, and that's it. But it's just, I don't know, it's just weird, isn't it? Like, if I didn't have the videos, I wouldn't have known I've done 100, you know.
She was doing a lot with the map, you know. I mean, her breath literally has to be like alien spitting on you. Like, I'm pretty sure, I mean, she had to take breaks. You gotta think, like, if you're gonna be doing all of that, like, I hope she, you know, every like 10 minutes decided, hey, I need to take a Listerine mouthwash break because I want to make sure I preserve some of my future. I gotta, you know, maybe talk to some people in the future, and I don't want this to leak out, because it's probably going to be pretty substantially hard to not get a whiff of that after all that. I mean, because that, and that was just with 100. Imagine 1,000. You know, I was just thinking like, man, this room had to smell worse than any room that Vince McMahon had been in. And that is saying a lot. And then Vince McMahon loves to do a lot of stuff that does with the poo-poo. And I mean, but I'm telling you, the smells of a lot of sweaty 100 dudes and one woman who is probably just moist and super sweaty, and on top of that, the smell of Badussy is just not, it's not a good smell. It's terrible. You know, I was also thinking, like, why would anybody want to do this? Like, even in a guy's greatest fantasy, banging 100 chicks in one day, that doesn't sound fun. Honestly, it would feel like our stuff would have to have fallen off at some point in time. Like, it would just burn away and just hit the floor. Like, what was that? That was my meat. It disintegrated because I just went way through too much. There was just too much going on here, and it just couldn't take it. First of all, physically, I don't think any guy could take that. Now, maybe there are probably some that have and probably had some surgery where they cut out some vein and where it eliminates all the pain and stuff like that. But, or, you know, the sensation, and because, dude, yo, after a while, I think you would just be hurting. I mean, this is just like the movie She Hate Me, where, you know, Anthony Mackie's character was sleeping with all these chicks. You know, he was basically a gigolo on the side so he can make some cash and some coin. And, you know, he had slept with a lot of women for a lot of money, and, well, the number of kids started piling up. But either way, it was taking a toll on this man. He's like, yo, I've got to tap out. There's only so much I can handle. Like, baby, look, I know I got an appointment here at 3 o'clock, but I'm going to have to cancel for the rest of the day. 11 to 2 just wiped me out, and I took a lunch, and I don't have anything left. I am sorry. Like, you would think this chick, I mean, the perseverance is something, I guess, to be, you know, marveled, or something that you could, you know, look up to. That's like, man, she really went through it, right? And she persevered, I guess. I mean, she survived it. That's one way to look at it. I mean, but still, this just, it's oh. But you got to think, like, the sounds of all these dudes just grunting. Oh, I mean, it's just like, you know, those sounds. It's got to be like The Walking Dead, or if you're playing Resident Evil and you just hear a bunch of zombies. Oh, like, it's got to just stick out in your head forever. I'm pretty sure, unfortunately, that's what she's going to need to talk to somebody about. Like, how do I get these moans out of my head? Like, there's just, you just hear nothing but seas of dudes, and it's just an absolute mess. I mean, she was just taking boat after boat after boat after boat. I mean, just
I'm trying to be the first person to be with 1,000 guys in 24 hours.
I mean, people should have shame on some of these guys, because, I mean, first of all, how are you proud? Now, I'm glad these people were, you know, talking in the interview or like during the documentary, but it's also like, I mean, if you were crazy and man enough to fly all the way over here to go and get some cheeks like this, why ain't you man enough to put your face on camera? Because they're shamed too. Apparently there was a video of a man that was in the corner crying at some point in time because I'm pretty sure he was traumatized by what he was seeing.
We were able to speak to another man as he left the Airbnb, although he seemed shaken by the experience.
He probably thought he was in, thought his mind could handle it, but when he went in there and saw what the debauchery that was taking place, he was like, oh my God. He saw something worse than any face hugger would ever show you on Alien. I'm telling you, that's what all I can think about when I see something to this point. It's just, oh my God, it's bad, man. I always like to think back on, what are you going to think about yourself at the end of your life? When you're sitting there on your deathbed and, you got somebody sitting next to you and they're thinking like, man, what did you accomplish in your life? Like, what are your real accomplishments? What did you do? Say she doesn't have any real family or something like that. Maybe she does, because somebody's probably going to marry this chick, no matter how many dinglings she decides to take. Like, somebody's going to sign up and be like, I'm about it. And I mean, kudos to that guy. Probably a complete weirdo. But either way, at the end of her life, she's going to be looking back and thinking, you know what? I once took 1,000 penises in one day. And the person that sitting next to them is going to be confused. Like, wait, whoa, hold on. What? Did I hear that right? Did you really just say what I thought you said? I mean, because that is a lot. 1,000 in one day. And there was a period where she did 100 before that. Yep. Stretched all the way out. Spandex. Call her Mrs. Fantastic. Because, I mean, at this point in time, it is Stretch Armstrong down there. I'm pretty sure she's had to have numerous surgeries to stitch that thing all the way back up, but there's no way it's the same. No way it's the same. I mean, are you proud of that? Is that something you think you're going to get a good mark for on your end of life report card? I mean, nobody should feel sorry for this chick. She signed up to do this. Like, don't shed any tears. I mean, yeah, you can feel bad for the fact that she's traumatized from all this because she's broken. She's broken and she should be broken. But if you want to break off another 1,000 penises in you, then I'm sorry. I do not care. I do not care about your mental well-being after this, because she's going to need somebody to talk to. There's a whole bunch of these, fine women out here on these sites, doing what they do. And unfortunately, they're deleting themselves because the trauma is hitting them and the reality's hitting them and they have utter shame. Now, I know we say bring back shame, but they feel it. They feel it. Just like the manosphere bozos I talk about on this channel. Like, do they not feel shame when they don't have mirrors in their home? I'm talking about the same thing here. Those women, they do feel it internally. It hurts deep down. They know the actions they've taken place and they know, like, being a thought is not, for the weak. Because, I mean, that's a lot of pounding and she's went through it. Is that something that you really want to go through? I mean, I would like to think I've accomplished more in my life than just going ahead and being the biggest hoe of all time. Like, you go down in Guinness for that. Like, I'd rather be the person that went down in Guinness World Records for spitting the most loogies in one day or something stupid like that, as opposed to doing this. It's really sad that this is what our world has come to. And that people are still getting off on this. Like, I'm flying from Australia just so I can get a little bit of that action. Dude, I'm telling you. Like, the only way she's going to be able to fit 1,000 dongs in her in one day, and I did the math, it comes down to 1 minute and 26 seconds per person. That's the only amount of action they get. And that's if she's getting railed through for 24 consecutive hours. 24 straight hours. 1 minute, 26 seconds. Now, literally, so let's do something a little bit more reasonable, right? Let's just cut it in half, right? Maybe she's only getting pounded for 12 hours a day because, I mean, you got to think at some point in time, if she's, getting railed for 24 hours, it's going to get to a point where she's probably going to pass out. And the dudes who are doing it have got to like contemplate if this is legal or not anymore, because I'm pretty sure she's asleep. I mean, you got to start having some form of decency somewhere in there, despite all the degeneracy that's taking place. But, despite that point, if you do 12 hours, just cut that time in half. It's 43.2 seconds. That's not a lot of time. And just think about it. If you try to make it a more reasonable time period each time, it only gets harder and harder to get all those people in and out. I mean, they're really going to have to be running in different formations like hockey. Just changing them out. New team. Go in there and get it, guys. Like, I mean, I don't get it. There can't be a whole lot of time to observe, look around the room and stuff like that. You got to go in, pull your pants down and go get to work. Now, this video is not meant for my mom to watch, but she'll probably watch anyway, and I hope she doesn't think too much crazy of it because she knows what's going on out there in the world, and it's kind of effed up. But woo, this is some crazy stuff, y'all. I mean, that's a lot. And anybody who's feeling sorry for her, stop it. I'm telling you, she doesn't deserve sympathy. She chose to do this. Nobody held a gun to her head and said you had to do this. Nobody put a gun, like nobody forced her to go out here and get pounded like this. I'm pretty sure people talked to her beforehand and gave her some type of warning saying, hey, you know, this might not be the best for you psychologically, and she still went through with it anyway. You know, just like Travis Hunter not wanting to listen to people who are trying to give him good advice. It happens. People don't listen to those around him who are just looking out for him. And then he end up like this. Sad state of affairs. Well, anyway, like, share, and subscribe. I hope you, enjoyed today's video. Wasn't meant to take up too much of your time. Just wanted to share some of my thoughts. Peace.